Hello children, welcome back to Nagesh Kharasgi Orchid School channel. In the last session we have started with history lesson number 8, devotional paths to the divine. So let us continue with the same lesson. Open your history textbooks, page number 113. So we will start with our lesson, continue. Now we learnt how it was focused on birth and rebirth. All human beings are not equal at birth. Social privilege came from birth in noble family and high caste. Some turned to Buddha and Jain's teaching and others bonded to Bhakti, that is Bhakti on Shiva, Vishnu or Durga. Methods of worship recommended in Puranas introduced into the local cults. Now we are going to read this. New religious developments in North, page number 113. The period after the 13th century saw a new wave of Bhakti movement in North India. This was an age when Islam, Brahmanical, Hinduism, Sufism, various strands of Bhakti and the Nathpanthas, Siddhas and Yogis influenced one another. We learnt all these things. We saw that new towns in chapter 6 and kingdoms in chapters 2, 3 and 4 were emerging, and people were taking up new professions and finding new roles for themselves. Such people, especially craft persons, peasants, traders and laborers, thronged to listen to these new saints and spread their ideas. Now our sixth lesson was about craft persons. Then we learnt about the rulers and kingdoms, and many other kingdoms were emerging, and these people were taking up new professions, okay, finding their roles for themselves. Now who were those people? Craft persons, peasants, traders and laborers, which were now thronged to listen to these new saints and spread their ideas. Now some of them like Kabir and Baba Guru Nanak rejected all orthodox religions. Others like Tulsidas and Surdas accepted existing beliefs and practices but wanted to make these accessible to all. Tulsidas conceived to God in the form of Rama. Tulsidas' composition, the Ramacharitra-manas, written in Awadhi, a language used in eastern Uttar Pradesh, is important. Okay. Now some of the saints like Kabir and Baba Guru Nanak rejected all orthodox religions. Okay. Now others like Tulsidas and Surdas accepted existing beliefs and practices but wanted to make accessible to all. Okay. Now this Tulsidas composition, Tulsidas conceived of God in the form of Rama. Tulsidas composition, the Ramacharitra Manas, he wrote in this language, Awadhi language, which is used in Uttar Pradesh, which is important for both expression of his devotion and as literary work. Surdas was an ardent devotee of Krishna. Okay. His compositions compiled in the Sur Sagara, Sura Sarvali and Sahitya Lahari express his devotion. Also contemporary was Shankaradeva of Assam, late 15th century, who emphasized devotion to Vishnu and composed poems and plays in Assamese. He began to practice of setting up namghars or houses for recitation and prayer, a practice that continues to date. Now here Shankaradeva is from Assam, who emphasized devotion to Vishnu and composed poems and plays in Assamese, means all will understand the local language of Assam, and he began the practice of setting namgars or houses for the recitation of prayers, so that people will sit there and recite. This tradition also included saints like Dadu Dayal, Ravidas and Mirabai. Mirabai was a Rajput princess married to the royal family of Mewar in 16th century. Mirabai became a disciple of Ravidas, a saint from a caste considered untouchable. She was devoted to Krishna and composed innumerable bhajans expressing her intense devotion. Her songs also openly challenged the norms of the upper caste and became popular with the masses in Rajasthan and Gujarat. Now here some more saints like Dadu Dayal, Ravidas and Mirabai. Mirabai was Rajput princess who married in a royal family of Mewar. In which century? 16th century. Mirabai was a disciple of Ravidas, a saint from caste, which caste? Untouchable. She was devoted to Krishna and composed innumerable bhajans expressing her devotion. Her songs also openly challenged the norms of the upper caste and became popular with masses in Rajasthan and Gujarat. A unique feature of most of the saints is that their works were composed in regional language and could be sung. They became immensely popular and were handed down orally from generation to generation. Usually the poorest, most deprived communities and women transmitted these songs, often adding their own experiences. Thus the songs as we have them today are as much a creation of saints as of generations of people who sang them. They have become a part of our living popular culture. Now the unique feature of most of the saints is what? That their works were composed in regional language, so that all could understand properly, and they were singing. They became immensely very popular, and they were handed down orally from generation to generation. Okay. The poorest, most deprived communities, women, translated these songs, adding their own experiences. Okay. They started to transmit these songs, and they have added some of their experiences also. And these songs as we have them today are much creation of the saints. These are the creations of the saints as of generations of people who sang them. Okay. Now next, a closer look now. A closer look, Kabir. Kabir, who probably lived in 15th to 16th centuries, was one of the most influential saints. He was brought up in a family of Muslim Julas or weavers settled in or near the city of Benares. Benares, Varanasi or Banaras, one and the same. So here Kabir, in which century he was there as a saint? 15th, 16th century, and he was the most influential saint. He was brought up in a family. Which family? Muslim family, or weavers settled in near city Banaras. Okay. We have little reliable information about his life. We get to know of his ideas from vast collection of verses called Sakis or Pats, said to have been composed by him and sung by wandering bhajan singers. Some of these were later collected and preserved in the Guru Granth Sahib, Panchvani and Bijak. So some of his bhajans, they were preserved in Guru Granth Sahib and Panchvani and Bijak. Kabir's teachings were based on complete indeed vehement rejection of the major religious traditions. See, Kabir's teachings were based completely on vehement means showing strong feeling and rejection of major religious traditions. His teachings openly ridiculed all forms of external worship of both Brahmanical Hinduism and Islam. So, his teachings were openly he made fun of, ridiculed all forms of external worship of both Brahmanical Hinduism and Islam. The preeminence means the superiority of the priestly classes and caste system also. Okay. The language of his poetry was a form of spoken Hindi widely understood by ordinary people. He also sometimes used cryptic language which is difficult to follow. So, sometimes he used to use language of his poetry was spoken Hindi which could be understood by ordinary people also, and sometimes used cryptic. Cryptic means very mysterious language which is difficult to follow, difficult to understand. Kabir believed in formless supreme God and preached that the only path to salvation was through bhakti or devotion. Kabir drew his followers from among the both Hindus and Muslims. Okay. Now we will go to a closer look to Baba Guru Nanak. We know more about Baba Guru Nanak than about Kabir. Born at Talwandi, Nankhana Sahib in Pakistan, he travelled widely before establishing a centre at Karatarpur, Dera Baba Nanak on the river Ravi. A regular worship that consisted of the singing of his own hymns was established there for his followers, irrespective of their former creed, caste or gender. His followers ate together in common kitchen, that is called langar. The sacred space thus created Baba Guru Nanak was known as Dharamsal, or it is known as Gurudwar. So now this saint Baba Guru Nanak, who was born in Talwandi in Pakistan, which is, he travelled widely, okay, establishing his center. His regular worship that consisting of singing of his own hymns, and he established many followers irrespective of their former creed, caste or gender. No caste, no creed or no gender. And his followers ate together. They used to cook together and eat together, that is called langar. And the space where it was performed, it is called Gurudwar. Before his death in 1539, Baba Guru Nanak appointed one of his followers as his successor. Okay, before his death he appointed one successor. His name was Lena, but he came to be known as Guru Angad, signifying that he was a part of Baba Guru Nanak himself. Guru Angad compiled the compositions of Baba Guru Nanak, to which he added his own in a new script known as Gurumukhi. Okay. Now this Guru Angad, he compiled the compositions of Guru Nanak and he added his own in new script known as Gurumukhi. Thus, three successors of Guru Angad also wrote under the name of Nanak, and all of these compositions were compiled by Guru Arjan in 1604. To this compilation were added the writings of other figures like Sheikh Farid, Sant Kabir, Bhagat Namdev and Guru Tegh Bahadur. In 1706, his compilation was authenticated by Guru Tegh Bahadur's son and successor, Guru Gobind Singh. It is now known as Guru Granth Sahib. It is now known as Guru Granth Sahib, the holy scripture of the Sikhs. Their holy book is Guru Granth Sahib. So, these are the now who were the successors of Guru Angad. His successors added some of the writings, and Sheikh Farid was included, Sant Kabir, Bhagat Namdev and Guru Tegh Bahadur. Okay. The number of Baba Guru Nanak's followers increased through the 16th century under his successors. They belonged to a number of castes, but traders, agriculturalists, artisans and craftsmen predominated. This may have something to do with Guru Nanak's insistence that his followers must be householders and should adopt productive and useful occupations. They were also expected to contribute to the general funds of the community of the followers. So, here the number of Baba Guru Nanak's followers increased. In which century? In 16th century under his successors. They belonged to the number of castes, but traders, agriculturalists, artisans and craftspersons were predominated. They may have something to do with Baba Guru Nanak's insistence that their followers must be householders and should adopt productive and useful occupations. They were also expected to contribute to give the funds to the community of followers. By the beginning of the 17th century, the town of Ramdaspur, that is Amritsar, had developed around the central Gurudwara called Harmandir Sahib Golden Temple. It was virtually self-governing, and modern historians refer to the early 17th century. Sikh community has a state within the state. The Mughal Emperor Jahangir looked upon them as a potential threat, and he ordered the execution of Guru Arjan in 1606. The Sikh movement began to be politicized in the 17th century, a development which culminated in the institution of the Khalsa by Guru Gobind Singh in 1699. The community of the Sikhs called the Khalsa Panth became a political entity. Now, here culminated means at the point of highest development, entity, a thing with distinct. Now, here the Sikh movement began to get politicized, means politicalized in 17th century, a development which the institution of Khalsa by Guru Gobind Singh in 1699. The community of Sikhs called the Khalsa Panth became political entity now. The changing of historical situation during the 16th and 17th century influenced the development of the Sikh movement. The ideas of Baba Guru Nanak had huge impact on this development. From very beginning, he emphasized the importance of worship of one God. He insisted that caste, creed or gender was irrelevant for attaining liberation. His idea of liberation was not that of state of inert bliss, but rather the pursuit of active life with a strong sense of social commitment. Okay. He himself used the terms Nam, Dam and Isnan for the essence of his teaching, which actually meant right worship, welfare of others and purity of conduct. His teachings are now remembered as Nam Japna, Kirt Karna and Vanda Chakna, which also underline the importance of right belief and worship and honest living and helping others. So, these were his teachings. What were his teachings? Like, see, to worship, to live honestly, to help others, to believe in right path, all were his teachings. Thus, Baba Guru Nanak's idea of equality and social and political implications. This might partly explain the difference between the history of the followers of Baba Guru Nanak and history of followers of other religious figures of the medieval centuries like Kabir, Ravidas and Dadu, whose ideas were very similar to those of Baba Guru Nanak. Yeah, their ideas also we learned, so those are similar. Now, in this way we have completed this lesson. Okay. Now, here Martin Luther and the Reformation. The 16th century was a time of religious ferment in Europe as well. One of the most important leaders of changes that took place within Christianity was Martin Luther. 1483 to 1546. Luther felt that several practices in Roman Catholic Church went against the teachings of the Bible. He encouraged the use of the language of ordinary people rather than Latin and translated the Bible into German. Luther was strongly opposed to the practice of indulgences or making donations to the church so as to gain forgiveness from sins. His writings were widely disseminated with the growing use of the printing press. Many Protestant Christians sects trace for their origins to the teachings of Luther. So, this is the page of German Bible translated by Martin Luther. Okay. So, this is, read the lesson, understand the lesson in this way. We have completed how methods of worship recommended everywhere. So, from the beginning we learnt the idea of Supreme God, then the new kind of bhakti in South India, that is Nainars and Alvars, then philosophy of bhakti, then Basavana's what? Veera Shaivism. Then we learnt about the saints of Maharashtra. Okay. Then Nath Panthis, Siddhas and Yogis, Islam and Sufism. Hospice also we learned what is a hospice. It is a house of rest where the travelers especially are kept by religious order. Okay. Now new religious developments in North India we learnt. We learnt about Kabir, Baba Guru Nanak. Okay. In this way we have completed devotional paths to the divine. Now let us solve this exercise. Match the following. Okay, first one is the Buddha. Buddha, what it is? See the B side questions. You will understand. Question social differences, that will come third one. Shankara Deva, that is Namgar. Nizamuddin Ulia, that will come Sufi saint. Nainars, that will come worship of Shiva, and Alvars, that is worship of Vishnu. Okay. Now fill in the blanks. Shankara was a advocate of Advaita, Advaita. Ramanuja was influenced by the Alvars. Okay. C1 dash dash and dash were advocates of Veerashaivism. Who were there? Basvanna, Allama Prabhu and Akkama Devi. Okay. See, Basvanna, Allama Prabhu and Akkama Devi. Now fourth one, Dash was an important center of Bhakti tradition in Maharashtra, Vittal temple. In this way, fill in the blanks are solved. Describe the beliefs and practices of Nathpanthis, Siddhas and Yogis. What were the major ideas expressed by Kabir? Who did he express? What were the major beliefs and practices of Sufis? Why do you think many teachers rejected relevant religious beliefs and practices? What were the major teachings of Baba Guru Nanak? So, for either the Veerashaivas or saints of Maharashtra discuss their attitude towards caste, why do you think ordinary people preserved the memory of Mirabai? Let's do this. Find out whether in your neighborhood there are the dargahs, gurudwars or temples associated with saints of the Bhakti tradition in your neighborhood. Visit any one of these and describe what you see and hear. For any of the saint poets whose compositions have been included in this chapter, find out more about their works. Noting down other poems, find out whether these are sung, how they are sung and what the poets wrote about. There are several saint poets whose names have been mentioned, but their works have not included in the chapter. Find out more about the languages in which they composed, whether their compositions were sung and what their compositions were about. Okay. These are the activities. So, in this way we have completed the lesson. So, children, read the lesson. If you have any doubts, we can clear it. So, we have completed lesson number 8, devotional path to the divine. In the next session, we will start with the new lesson. Okay. Until then, take care. Bye.